I discovered my fiancée wasn't a wealthy heiress like she claimed. She was drowning in debt and planning to use my credit to pay it off. I exposed her lie during the wedding toast. Her rich parents in the front row were actually hired actors. Original post. I, 33 male, proposed to my fiancée, 29, 9 months ago. We've been dating for about 18 months before that. Met her at a charity gala my company sponsored. She was wearing this designer dress, talked about her family's real estate portfolio, mentioned growing up with a trust fund. The whole package. Early on, she insisted on keeping our finances separate, said it was important for her independence, that her family taught her to maintain her own wealth. Made sense at the time. Respected that, actually. We split dates, she paid her way, seemed like a modern, self-sufficient woman. The red flags started small. She'd occasionally ask to borrow my credit card for online shopping because hers was being replaced or fraud alert. Always paid me back immediately, though. Then there was the time her car payment supposedly didn't go through, and could I cover it? She Venmo'd me the money that same day. 3 weeks ago, we were applying for a mortgage together. The wedding was planned for next month, figured we'd buy a house, start our life. The loan officer asked for both our financial documents. That's when it got weird. My fiancé kept delaying. Oh, I need to get the statements from my accountant. My trust documentation is at my parents' house. Can we just use your income? Mine is complicated with the trust structure. The loan officer wasn't having it. Needed full disclosure from both applicants. Finally, my fiancé broke down crying. Said she was embarrassed because she'd made some bad investments and her credit score had dropped. Nothing serious, just wanted to fix it before applying. That night, I couldn't sleep. Something fell off. Not just the mortgage thing, other little inconsistencies over the past 2 years. Her family estate that I'd never actually visited. Her parents who were always traveling abroad. The way she'd get vague about her job as a consultant. I did something I'm not proud of. Used one of those background check websites. Cost me $50. The report came back 2 days later. My fiancé's credit score, 580. Multiple collection accounts. Over $89,000 in credit card debt. A repossessed car from 3 years ago. Student loans in default totaling $45,000. And a civil judgment against her for $12,000 from a landlord. There was no trust fund. No real estate portfolio. Her parents weren't wealthy investors. I sat in my car in the office parking lot reading this for an hour. My hand was shaking. That evening, I pretended everything was normal. Made dinner, asked about her day. She rambled about some consulting project that I was now certain didn't exist. Hey, quick question, I said casually. For the mortgage stuff, what's your actual credit score? She smiled. Around 720, I think. Maybe 710. Why? Just curious. Loan officer said they'd need at least 680. Oh, I'm fine then. She lied directly to my face. Smiled while doing it. The next day, I called the loan officer privately. If I'm the only one on the mortgage, what do I qualify for? Given your income and credit score? Around $450,000. More than enough for what you're looking at. And if I add someone with a 580 credit score and significant debt, pause. That would severely impact the terms. Higher interest rate, lower approval amount. What? Just checking something. I started digging deeper. Found an old email from her to her friend that she'd left open on our shared iPad. Subject line, the plan. Once we're married, I'll add myself to his cards. He makes $140,000 and has an 810 credit score. I can transfer my balances, pay everything off over time. He'll never even notice the debt if I'm smart about it. And with his income on paper, I can finally get approved for things. My stomach dropped. She wasn't marrying me. She was marrying my credit score. I screenshot everything. The background check, the email, saved it all to a secure cloud drive. Then I made a decision that probably makes me a bad person. I was going to let the wedding happen, and I was going to expose everything during the toast. Update 1, the wedding. The wedding was last Saturday. $45,000 affair, which I paid for. She'd insisted her parents wanted to contribute, but had liquidity issues with some investments. Should have known then. Her parents were there. Front row. Smiling, dressed expensively. I'd met them exactly 4 times in 2 years. Always at restaurants she chose, always brief. They talk about the business and properties, but stay vague on specifics. Friday night, I couldn't help myself. I approached the man claiming to be her father at the rehearsal dinner. Hey, quick question about that Denver property you mentioned before. What neighborhood? He blinked. Oh, it's actually in the suburbs. Near the mountains. Which suburb? You know, I'm terrible with names. Let me get back to you. He never did. Saturday afternoon, while getting ready, I did one final check. Googled the phone number her father had given me once for emergency contacts. It came up as a listing for Premier Event Staff Professional Actor Services. My hands went numb. I clicked through. There was his headshot. Available for corporate events, private parties, and specialty bookings. Her mother? Same agency. Different headshot page. She'd hired actors to play her parents. I showed up to my own wedding in a daze. Smiled through photos. Said my vows. She cried during hers, talking about how I'd saved her and how she'd never been so happy. The reception started. Dinner was served. Then came the toasts. Her maid of honor went first. Talked about their college days, how my wife always knew what she wanted. Then my best man. Funny stories about us, supportive words. Then it was my turn. I stood up, tapped my glass. Everyone quieted down. I want to thank everyone for being here. I started. Marriage is built on trust, on honesty, on partnership. My new wife smiled up at me, tears in her eyes. So I think it's important to start this marriage with complete honesty. Her smile faltered slightly. See, I recently learned some interesting things. About credit scores. About debt. I looked directly at her parents in the front row. About hiring actors from premier event staff to pretend to be your wealthy parents. The room went silent. You could hear someone's fork hit their plate. My wife stood up. What are you doing? I'm being honest. Isn't that what marriage is about? I pulled out my phone. Should I share your actual credit score? It's 580, by the way. Not 720 like you told me. Her face went white. Or should we talk about the $89,000 in credit card debt you're carrying? The defaulted student loans? The repossession? Her father stood up. I don't have to listen to this. He started walking toward the exit. Yeah, you probably should leave, I called after him. I'm guessing you're only paid through dinner service anyway. Several guests gasped. Her mother grabbed her purse and followed him out. My wife was shaking. You're humiliating me. In front of everyone. You were planning to commit fraud. I found the email. The one where you talked about adding yourself to my credit cards, transferring your debt to me. That's not marriage. That's financial abuse. Her maid of honor stood. This is insane. You're ruining her wedding. She ruined it when she lied about literally everything. There's no trust fund. No real estate portfolio. Her parents aren't wealthy investors. They're not even her parents. They're character actors she paid to play rich people. I looked around the room. I paid for this entire wedding. $45,000. Because she claimed her parents wanted to contribute, but had liquidity issues. You know why? Because they don't exist. My wife lunged at me. My best man caught her arm. You're a psycho, she screamed. You planned this. You knew and you still married me just to humiliate me. Technically, we're not married, I said calmly. I never signed a marriage license. Told the officiant I needed to review it with my lawyer first. So actually, we just had a very expensive party where I exposed your fraud in front of 150 people. Her face went from rage to horror. What? The marriage isn't legal. We're not married. And we're not going to be. I turned to leave. Stopped. Oh, and the honeymoon to Bali? Canceled that this morning. Full refund since I booked it with points. Have fun explaining this to everyone. I walked out. Behind me, chaos erupted. Shouting, crying, chairs scraping. My best man followed me out. Holy shit, dude. Yeah. Did that just happen? Yep. We got in his car. He drove me to my apartment in silence. When we got there, he asked, You okay? Not even a little bit. But I didn't regret it. Not one bit. Update 2. The aftermath. The fallout was immediate and brutal. Sunday morning, I woke up to 63 text messages. From her, her friends, even some of my own relatives who'd been at the wedding. From her, you destroyed me. Everyone knows. Everyone. How could you do this to someone you loved? From her friends, "You're a monster. She made mistakes, but you humiliated her." At her own wedding. From my aunt, "That was cruel. Whatever she did, that wasn't the way to handle it." I ignored most of them. Responded to my aunt, "She hired actors to play her parents and planned to commit credit card fraud against me. I think public humiliation is getting off light." The parents, the actors, actually called me. The guy who played her dad. "Look, man, I didn't know the full situation. She hired us through the agency, said her real parents couldn't attend due to health issues, wanted stand-ins for photos and the ceremony. We thought it was weird, but we've done weirder gigs." "How much did she pay you?" $2,500 each, plus wardrobe expenses. "Where'd she get that money?" "I don't ask questions, man." But she seemed stressed about the payment. Kept asking if we took payment plans. She'd probably put it on credit cards. More debt to add to the pile. Monday, I got a call from a lawyer. Her lawyer. "Mr. Last name, my client is requesting that you return all gifts received during the wedding ceremony as the marriage was not completed. Tell your client she can have the toaster. Everything else stays. She's also considering legal action for defamation and emotional distress." Cool. I have documentation of everything I said. Truth is an absolute defense against defamation. And she's the one who committed fraud, so good luck with emotional distress. My client maintains she never intended to defraud you. I have an email in her own words describing her plan to use my credit to pay off her debt. Want me to send it to you? Or should I send it directly to the police for the fraud investigation? Long pause. Let me speak with my client. Never heard from that lawyer again. Tuesday, my fiancée, or whatever she was now, showed up at my apartment. Building security called me. "Sir, there's a woman here claiming to be your wife. She's demanding to come up. She's not my wife. We're not married. Please ask her to leave." She's refusing. She's causing a scene in the lobby. I sighed. Call the police if she doesn't leave in 5 minutes. She left in 4 minutes, but not before leaving a note with security. The note: "I know I messed up, but you destroyed my life. I lost my job. They saw the Facebook posts. My apartment is evicting me. I have nowhere to go. Please just talk to me. Help me." I threw the note away. Wednesday, I got a call from her real mother. Not the actress, her actual biological mother who lived 2 states away and definitely wasn't wealthy. "I just heard what happened. I'm mortified. I had no idea she was doing any of this." "You didn't know she hired actors to pretend to be you?" "No. I haven't spoken to her in almost a year. We had a falling out over money. She kept asking me to co-sign loans, and when I refused, she cut me off." "Did you know about her debt?" "I knew it was bad, but $89,000? Jesus. I tried to warn her years ago. She's always lived beyond her means. Designer clothes, fancy dinners. I told her it would catch up. Well, it did. I'm sorry you got caught in her mess. For what it's worth, I think what you did was harsh, but she needed to face consequences. No one's ever made her face them before." That conversation actually made me feel worse. This wasn't just a con artist. This was someone with a serious spending problem who'd lied so much she believed her own stories. Thursday, the vendor started calling. "Hi, this is calling from the venue. We're settling final costs, and notice the payment method on file was declined. I paid the deposit. What's this about? Your wife added champagne upgrade and extra hors d'oeuvres to the package. Additional $2,400. The card she provided was declined. We're not married, and I'm not paying for upgrades I didn't authorize." "Sir, you signed a contract." "I signed a contract for the base package. Any upgrades would need my signature. Do you have my signature authorizing the changes?" "Let me check." "No, I have her signature." "Then that's her problem." Similar calls came from the florist, upgraded arrangements, $800, the photographer, added album package, $1,200, and the DJ, extended hours, $500. She'd upgraded everything without telling me and put on her credit cards that immediately declined. The vendors were now coming after both of us. I forwarded everything to my lawyer. She fraudulently signed contracts in my name. Handle it. Friday, exactly 1 week after the wedding that wasn't, my lawyer called with news. The vendors are backing off. Most are pursuing her directly now that we've shown she made unauthorized changes. But there's something else. What? She's filed for bankruptcy. Chapter 7. Listed you as a creditor for $45,000, the wedding costs. I laughed. It was so absurd I actually laughed. She's claiming I owe her money? No, she's claiming you're owed money that she can't pay. It's her attempt to discharge the debt through bankruptcy. Can she do that? Not exactly. Wedding expenses aren't typically dischargeable if they were incurred through fraud, and you have proof she planned to defraud you. We can contest it. Do it. The bankruptcy filing was public record. I looked it up. There was in black and white $134,000 in total debt. Credit cards, student loans, personal loans from friends, unpaid rent, medical bills. The wedding expenses she tried to claim against me. Everything. She'd been drowning and saw me as a life raft. Update 3. Final resolution. It's been 2 months since the wedding that wasn't. Time to close this out. The bankruptcy went forward. Despite my contestation, judge ruled that while the wedding costs were questionable, she was clearly insolvent and the overall debt was legitimate. She lost everything. Credit destroyed even more. Had to surrender her car, moved back in with her real mother. The vendors eventually settled. I paid nothing beyond the original deposits. They pursued her, got nothing, and eventually wrote it off. My lawyer sent her a formal demand for the $45,000 I spent on the wedding. She obviously can't pay it. It's now a judgment against her that'll follow her for years. The actors, the fake parents, actually gave me a refund. Said they felt bad about being part of the deception. I didn't ask for it, but they insisted. $3,800 total. Small, but it was something. My ex-fiancée tried reaching out a few more times. Through friends, through email, even sent a letter to my office. All saying variations of the same thing. She was sorry. She was desperate. She never meant to hurt me. Could I please help her? I didn't respond to any of it, but I did get one message that stuck with me. From her real mother. I know you don't owe her anything, but I need you to know she's not okay. I'm worried about her mental state. She won't eat, barely sleeps. Just sits in her room. I know she did this to herself, but I'm scared for her. That one got to me. Not enough to change anything, but enough to feel complicated. Look, I'm not proud of how I handled it. The public exposure was brutal. I could have confronted her privately, called off the wedding quietly, but she was planning to commit fraud against me, to trap me in a marriage built on lies and debt. The truth is, I'm angry. Still, even now, because I loved her, or I loved who I thought she was. The woman I proposed to doesn't exist. She was a character, carefully crafted, designed to land someone with good credit and a stable income. And I'm sad, because somewhere under all those lies was probably a scared person drowning in debt who made increasingly desperate choices. But that doesn't excuse the fraud, doesn't excuse hiring actors, doesn't excuse the plan to steal my financial identity. Some people say I went too far, that the public humiliation was cruel, that I should have handled it differently. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am a vindictive person who took something private and made a spectacle. But you know what? She was going to commit fraud against me, was actively planning it. That email wasn't hypothetical. It was a blueprint. And if I'd called off the wedding quietly, she would have just found another target. Someone else to deceive. At least now it's on record. Public. Anyone who Googles her name will find something. The vendors know. The guests know. The next person she tries to con will have a chance to find out who she really is. As for me, I'm okay. Not great, not terrible. Just okay. I canceled the honeymoon, got my points back, moved the money I'd saved for the down payment into investments. Started therapy because apparently publicly humiliating your fiancé at your own wedding is something you should probably process with a professional. My therapist keeps asking if I regret it. The honest answer? I regret falling for the con. I regret not seeing the red flags earlier. I regret that the woman I loved never actually existed. But do I regret exposing her? No. She made choices. She built an elaborate fraud. She hired actors, for crying out loud. That's not desperation. That's calculation. The wedding cost me $45,000, but it could have cost me so much more. My credit, my savings, years of my life married to someone who saw me as a meal ticket $45,000 is expensive, but it's cheaper than a divorce from someone with $134,000 in debt that would have become partly mine. So yeah, that's where we are. Wedding didn't happen. Marriage didn't happen. Fraud got exposed. Bad person faced consequences. Some people get away with stuff like this. She didn't. And honestly, that's all I wanted. Just for once, for the person who lies and schemes and cons to actually face the music. She got what she deserved. And I got out before she could destroy my financial life. That's the end of it. I'm moving on. She's in bankruptcy. The actors are probably at someone else's wedding. And somewhere out, there is hopefully a person who'll Google her name before they fall for the same con. That's my story. Wedding that wasn't. Marriage that wasn't. And a very expensive lesson in verifying who people actually are before you give them access to your life. Stay careful out there.